Are you really the one who is manifesting and actually achieving your heart's greatest desires? You, the lower self, the personality, are you really the one doing all of this? Or are you tapping into a greater force? Are you letting the higher self in and letting that magic guide you to that ultimate prize that's at the end of the rainbow? Or are you just trying to grab the rainbow and create it out of thin air and juggle all of this magic and juggle all of these things at the same time? You see, are you the one doing it? Truly surrender to the higher self, truly let go of the reins and unclutch from all of this suffering, all of this restriction that is allowing these passions to actually manifest into your life. Are you the one doing it? Really contemplate this. Go deep within yourself and figure out where the control is. Where is the energy being spent in your life? Do you have what you want? Is your reality as beautiful as it should be? Is it heaven on earth, or does it look like hell? Is that person weighing on your consciousness? Is that victim mentality kicking in and you start blaming others? Or you start actually understanding your self-limiting beliefs? You start understanding what happened in the past and how you created it so you can wake up, so you can take responsibility, so you can wake other people up, so we can stop being asleep. So we can stop getting into these old programs and old wars and just ruining Pachamama and all this nature, and actually living in abundance, actually being one with nature, practicing the peace, the harmony, the 5D consciousness, the collectiveness of actually achieving what we would call higher consciousness. You see? And there's no judgment here. When I say the word higher consciousness, make no mistake that lower consciousness or a quote unquote low vibration is bad. You see, bad, good, all of this is 3D, sun, moon, up, down, right? 5D, non-duality, that's where we're headed. That's the ascension. That's what you're feeling. That's why the old beliefs that you're clinging on to and you have to hold on tight to, that is creating the suffering over and over again until you finally learn the lesson. This is the ultimate path. You want to call that spirituality, you want to call that a religious label, doesn't matter to me. This is the journey called human life, and this is what we are learning through the unconditional love school called Planet Earth. So welcome, buckle up. It's not over yet. And just when you think it's over, another higher wave will come in the form of a lesson or a trauma or triggering you, right, on that deep, dark level when you thought all the skeletons in your closet were removed, and then here comes another one. Right? And you're like, whoa, I had no idea that existed, but here we go again. Let's do this, baby. So all of this needs to come in with grace. You see, a little bit of a love and laughter and a little bit of lightheartedness instead of that heavy energy that's being built up on the shoulders of all of us and just meant to be carried. You see, that burden is not meant to be carried. Exactly the definition of burden, you see? Meaning it's not wanted, it's not needed, and yet we carry it anyway. Like you're some selfless person for carrying everybody's problems and traumas and guilts on your shoulders instead of letting them process it from themselves. You see, are we really getting anywhere? Are we enabling? You see, we're not little children anymore. You see, we have to grow up. We have to be the one. We have to achieve the one. We have to be the oneness. We can't just talk about these words and these ideas anymore. We have to do it. We have to free ourselves. We have to go beyond it. Otherwise, we're just going to talk the game, right? And just talk a really good talk, but not walk the walk. You see, authenticity above all else. Let's replace the word enlightenment. Let's get rid of all spiritual concepts, ideas, religions, beliefs, and just practice authenticity. Just practice that oneness. Just practice that genuine authenticity when you have that heart-centered connection and you feel the soul and soul vibing, you know? Like it's just connecting with whatever stranger or encounter that you may have come across, or a little child in the park, whatever. You see, that dance is happening, and it's just a matter of, is it graceful? Is it a beautiful divine dance, you see, between the higher and lower self? And is this magic, you know, that we would call heaven on earth? Does it look like heaven, or does it feel like hell? Does it feel exhausting and traumatic all the time, you see? Or is it actually something you're perceiving and gathering the light and expanding even more? Higher levels of the game, until you're actually there experiencing the oneness. And then the ego kicks into the highest level of spiritual ego, right? And you want to hang on to it even more, which creates an even higher level of suffering. And around we go. So what's the solution? It's always the same. You've heard me say it a million times. Let go, surrender, and repeat. These are just mere words, concepts, ideas until you bring it to an action. Let go of the idea that the lower self and you and the personality actually know what's going on, and just surrender, you see, to that higher self. Let it come into your life. Invite it, right? This is what we call meditation, or go for a walk, or play with your children or your dog or your cat, or just hug a tree. Do anything to break that old karmic cycle. You see? Because the subconscious is the one that's pulling you into that darkness, and those self-limiting beliefs is like the fuel that's igniting this flame over and over again. And you, the higher self, merging with the lower self is the only solution. That's it. Now, if you want to call that meditation or get into Tai Chi or dance or this or that, I don't care. I want you to have the results. I want you to actually to achieve these things and just get away from the concepts of an idea and practice. You see, this is what we call karma yoga. It's an action. You're relieving the karma. You're not creating any more karma. We're here to undo all that stuff and go beyond it and expand. So I know you've tapped into this. I know that you've experienced it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening right now. You wouldn't be watching. You would have already left the video. You'd already be listening to some other podcast. You'd be on to the next thing. You're right. So you're here for a reason. You're listening for a reason. So let this be a validation for you and those experiences. You see, because this isn't for everybody. This is especially not for 3D people that are stuck in the matrix. And I'm not saying that to create us versus them. I'm merely using those words to describe people that are so trapped in that veil of illusion that they are not even open to the idea of anything other than their form of reality. And I have nothing but empathy for these people, and I want nothing for them to grow and expand. However, that change has to come from within. And you, even though how quote unquote awakened you think you are, or how 5D or any of this stuff, you are not going to be the one to create that change. That's a hard pill to swallow, especially if it's your family member that's suffering, or your love mate, soulmate, mother of your children, father of your children, whatever that relationship is. If you're really feeling it, that's where it's going to hit you the most. Trust me, I know. Now, going beyond this into higher consciousness and breaking free of those emotions that are dragging you down and that weight that you don't have to carry anymore. Again, that is up to you. Let the light into your life. But then, until next time, guys, infinite love, infinite peace. I'm out.